freelance writers, for the last 8 months, I've been testing out a new platform for freelance writers to identify job leads and apply to them effectively and as quickly as possible. That platform is called Contena. And in a recent podcast episode, I interviewed one of the employees at Contena to talk more about how the platform works and how you can get the most out of it. Now, Contena is not the least expensive option out there as far as job boards. Considering that Upwork costs you $10 a month plus any extra money you need to spend on additional bids, the price of Contena is much more expensive. I believe mine was around $100 a month for 6 months. So it's a pretty hefty investment at $600. However, I will say that if you even find 1 or 2 job leads from Contena, it will easily pay for itself because the jobs that are coming to you are premium jobs. Now, I've been tracking this program for a number of months, my success with it, and also the general types of jobs that are posted there so that I can tell you more information about it and whether or not it makes sense as far as investing as a freelance writer. Now, I would not recommend investing in this platform if you're completely new. So you've never pitched before, you haven't had the opportunity to put together some great samples. Although the team at Contena will review your pitch to make sure that it's in line with what their clients may be interested in, ultimately it's not even Contena's clients, right? They're actually curating these job posts. So what they know of it is just what tends to be successful, but they may not necessarily know the company directly. So that's something to keep in mind, is that they're kind of a middleman, a lot like Upwork and other job boards, except that the postings on Contena do tend to be premium and more beneficial for that reason. Now, like I said, it's not cheap. So a beginning freelance writer, at most I ever spent as a new freelance writer was $100 on maybe one ebook or training. So I think this is out of reach for a brand new freelance writer. For a writer who's already established and making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, Contena might be a great source of job leads for you. So let me tell you how the service works. You sign up with Contena. They'll connect you with their academy. You'll also have the opportunity to send in your pitch directly to your coach, your Contena coach, and they'll provide you feedback to help you tweak it before you begin sending things out. You can search directly on Contena's website for opportunities they have, but they'll also send you daily emails about jobs that are open. Now, one thing I want to point out, not all these jobs are contract. There are a lot of full-time remote positions where the company is actually looking for an employee. Now, it's a full-time writing position or editing position, but for freelancers out there, bear in mind that in my experience, I've seen it be about 50-50. So there's a lot of contracted opportunities, but there's also a lot of full-time jobs. And that wasn't something that I was looking for, and it wasn't something I was looking for my audience. However, if you were looking for one of those full-time telecommute type jobs where you're in a writing or editing position, and maybe you want to do your freelance stuff on the side part-time, the investment in Contena may pay off in just a couple of months if you were to land one of those gigs. Now, like I said, Contena is curating this information, so it is material that's available elsewhere online, but you'd have to do a tremendous amount of work to uncover it. There have been some postings on there from major companies looking for contracted as well as full-time remote work, and it might have taken you days or weeks to uncover it. And being first in the door and replying to these opportunities promptly has a big impact on your ability to be successful. So on that one aspect alone, Contena is great because they're basically pulling all of the information into one place and helping you identify the best direction to go from there. So you can search on their site, you can use search terms like maybe you would search for healthcare or nutrition, and then they'll pull up anything. And then they also grade the content to whether it's low pay, medium pay, or high quality pay. So you can also use their search filters to turn off, any of those low paying opportunities turning up in your search results. Now, sometimes the postings are outdated or the job's been filled already. It happens rarely, but sometimes they are old, or maybe it was accurate when Contena put it in their system, but a week later it's old. So one of the coolest things I like about Contena is they remind you to be on top of your pitch game, because you can sign up for alerts that are delivered every single day to your email box when a new opportunity is available. I sometimes get between 7 and 15 of these in a day. So that's a lot of leads to pursue. Now, some of them are not targeted for me at all. For example, one of the keywords I put in there was business or SEO. So anytime that something with that in its job description comes up, Contena sends me an alert with the link to log into their website and see more about it. I signed up for both the full-time job leads as well as the contracted leads because, like I said, I wanted to see the split on that, and it was pretty 50-50. There's a lot of full-time job leads on Contena, but there are also hundreds of opportunities for contracted work. Now, because Contena is a middleman, you can't really fault them if you don't have that much success. It took me a while to start getting responses on Contena because they're essentially just sending me pitch details that were available elsewhere on the internet. So there's a lot of people applying for this, a lot of people even within the Contena system. I received a response on, I think, a handful of the pitches I submitted a few months into using it. But up to that point, I was like, why am I, what am I doing wrong here? I'm not really getting any response. So it definitely took some time and some work. And I recommend having a pitch different for each type of writing you want to do. So if you're pitching, just general blogging in the parenting niche, you might have a parenting sample and a parenting pitch that links to those samples. But when you're writing for software IT, that's a whole other industry. Those parenting samples wouldn't work. So what I did is I created sub pitches for each type of industry. And I honestly found that my ideal client was not hanging out on Contena, but your ideal client might be. So what are a lot of the jobs that are posting? A lot of jobs about editing or writing resumes. There are a surprising number of jobs in the educational sector asking for people to write lesson plans, edit curriculum, things like that. A lot of digital marketing and general SEO, B2B, B2C blogging needs. A lot of personal finance. They have a lot of personal finance leads on that site. Health and wellness and nutrition, medicine, that type of thing. We're also on there as well. But it's a lot of sort of businessy, techy things. I see a lot of leads that are coming through to do SEO content or to be a digital marketer and, contribute to the strategy as well as the writing. So the jobs are kind of all over the place. So if you're only looking for one particular thing, then Contena might not be the right fit for you. So for me, a lot of my clients are attorneys. I probably saw 5 to 6 total leads for anything to do with law the whole time that I've been on this site. So it's not necessarily something where I'm going to find my ideal client in that sector. However, I decided to branch out into personal finance and do some more insurance and credit card and loan type things as well because I felt like it was a similar skill set for me. So I found a lot of leads there. And I also found a lot of leads when it came to just general digital marketing and business. So because you're going to be applying with the company directly, I think it's beneficial to have Contena look at your pitch and give you some feedback on it, but you may need to tweak it each time. And I mean, this is a numbers game, so you may have to submit 30 pitches before you hear something back. I don't think it's that abnormal. I think for me, it took longer because my background is in SEO, legal, and insurance writing. And so my clients weren't really on Contena to begin with. It was a different, type of client that was on that site in general. So I had to create new samples and new pitches, and I was a little out of my element. But in a way, that's beneficial for the purposes of this review because I looked at Contena as though I were a total newbie. I was looking at things in completely new industries that I had not landed jobs in before. So I think that speaks to the authenticity of this experience because I really tried to view it from, would this be beneficial for a brand new freelance writer? So there's pros and cons of Contena in general. I think it can be a really valuable tool for experienced freelance writers. I think the cost factor alone is a little too much to make it be super valuable for a newbie. $600 is a lot of money to invest for potential leads. I'd encourage you to have some income coming in already before you commit to Contena. So let's say you do the payment plan for Contena. Maybe you already need to be earning $500 a month minimum to justify that $100 payment. Now, if you landed multiple jobs from it, were really able to grow your freelance writing income, then I could see where it wouldn't be that much of an investment to pay the $100. Whenever I hear people say, Upwork, they take a 20% fee. Yes, but in exchange for the money that I'm making from Upwork for clients that I wouldn't have had otherwise, that number that I'm paying in monthly fees is so minimal, like it's a joke. So I imagine that if you were making hundreds or thousands a month from your leads from Contena and you're in those industries I mentioned earlier, then I could see where it would be beneficial for you to stay on the site and continue to use it as a paid job board. So ultimately, just my 2 cents on the whole experience is that it can be valuable, but do your research before committing to it on your own. Make sure you already have some income so it doesn't feel like a huge blow to be shelling out this $100 a month. And monitor it for a while. You know, they do have a refund period. I believe it's within either 2 weeks or 30 days. And so if you're not seeing the type of leads that you want to get out of it, you can ask for a refund. But however, you have to go through their academy and submit the homework assignments and all of that in order to be even eligible for a refund. So bottom line is you need to have time and a little bit of money to commit to this endeavor as a source of freelance writing job leads. I think that in my experience, it's easier to land gigs on other platforms. However, the price per piece on Contena is so much higher, where if you developed an ongoing relationship with even one client from Contena, it would more than pay for itself. So let me know, have you used Contena as a freelance writing job platform? Would you recommend it?